All right, guys, we're gonna get started. Thank you guys for coming out. Whether you're a Spark member or a friend of a Spark member, we're super excited to show you guys everything we have today. So yeah, we're Spark. We're a group of students that bridge tech and design and build some pretty awesome stuff. And this is our exec team. This is actually André and my last semester as co-president. And yeah, I just wanted to say before we get started that I'm super proud of all of you for everything you've built. This club is all driven by you guys. And yeah. Cool. So give this off to Andre for the pillars.
Yeah, so just to give a background about Spark, if you're not familiar, our three pillars are education, experience, and community. We basically take people in, we'll teach them about how to make a website and how to use different tech stacks, how to design. And then later our members take ownership and they'll basically, gain experience by building projects by themselves or on their own with a group of other people, designers and developers. And then we also pride ourselves on our community. We love to do like events. We go eat together, hot pot, retreats, things like that. And moving on to the next slide. These are some of the examples of what we create. So in previous semesters, we've built kind of like one of the examples is Penn Place, which we made last semester. It's basically a 3D canvas for you to build anything using 3D voxels. And then we have like Pistachio from a few semesters back, which was like a voting app to vote on things at Penn. And we also have like something like Procedural City, which is like this really creative medieval town that was generated that generated on its own. And we had some really talented designers on that project. And also we have Philanthropia, which was a client project from last semester, which was really interesting because we worked with an actual client. And now we're going to get into some of the projects for this semester, starting with the red projects. So these are projects that people had experience already, or they've gone through our blue program where we teach them how to either design or develop, and now they're working on pretty advanced projects. These projects are really interesting, and yeah, let's give it up for Roomies.
Yeah, and guys, make sure you use the mic because we're trying to record this on Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah, so hi guys. We made an app called Roomies. It's essentially an app designed to coordinate your life with your roommates. So essentially, we're going to gamify your experience because you can build some personalized avatars, at the same time earn points through completing tasks and competing with your roommates. This is our team. Mostly everyone's here. And at the end of this, everybody is going to join a room on our app and essentially all become roommates to enjoy this experience together. But before that, essentially you see conversations like this, right? Like, what would you do if you had this conversation? It's hard to keep track of everybody's responsibilities, and at the same time, it's a little awkward. And in order to fix that, let's download Roomies. Essentially, we're going to create an account. From there, you can either create your own room, or if your roommate created a room already, obviously, you can just join that specific room. From there, creating your avatars, adding tasks, and also being able to view your tasks in a calendar view is something that we provide. After completing a task, you'll be able to add the corresponding points into your personal profile, and it'll be displayed in the leaderboard. The top 3 roommates will be shown there if, I guess, you have at least 3 roommates. But here's a more technical perspective of our app.
So our design was based off of a Spark Blue project from spring of 2024. And then in the first iteration, we kind of kept many of the old features, such as like the tabs view from task to calendar, as well as the leaderboard profile and the task page. But then one new thing we wanted to add was a feed page. However, later we realized we wanted to prioritize user task completion over having like a home feed. So we got rid of that. And
yeah, in our final revision, we just worked on refining the color scheme. We streamlined the task page.
For the tech stack, we use Figma for the design process, and then for the front end, we use React Native and Native Wind, and for the back end, we use Firebase.
For our front end, on the far left, you could see our landing page. And from there, you could either go to our sign-in page or our login page. And once you're logged in and you're in a group, you're then brought to our task page, which is where you could see all your tasks. And these tasks are also displayed in the calendar page, which is more organized. And other pages include the leaderboard page, where you could see the rankings of the roommates, the profile page, where you could adjust your own settings, and the avatar creation page. And throughout this, we added in animations to help transition more smoothly.
Yeah, and as Catherine mentioned, for our backend, we primarily used Firebase. And the primary features we relied on there were the authentication services. So we have email and password login and sign up. And then we also use the Firebase databases. So we had 4 different databases, including users, roomie groups, avatars, and tasks. And then as well as a bunch of APIs on our backend to just fetch information and interface with those databases.
Everybody now, can you please download this QR or scan this QR code? Also, you can also just take a picture because this might take a little while, especially if you don't have Test Flight. Essentially, going into the QR code, you'll be able to download an app called Test Flight. From there, you can download Roomies. And yeah, everybody will be able to join this room code. So I better see everybody looking at their phones, scanning this QR code right now. If you're not, either you don't have roommates or you're a bad roommate. So I see all of you guys. But yeah. The room name is Spark Showcase. The password is welcome. Again, take a photo so you'll be able to remember it. But yeah, we'll give you guys a few seconds and then we'll go on to our next side. Okay. So essentially, we're going to show you guys a like an instance of how two roommates might interact in our app, just to introduce, again, you guys to the app, and yeah, you guys can enjoy this process.
Oh my God, I'm rooming with my bestie Hambosa, but I know he takes the fattest poops. We're gonna need some air freshener, toilet paper, and daily deep cleaning sessions, but coordinating tasks is just so hard.
Oh, hell nah. I'm rooming with Catherine. Bro, I'm gonna go insane. I think I need to download Roomies fast. Um, Let me go ahead and create my account.
Now let's create our own group for him to join. Let's call it something fitting like Hamosu's Shart Station and create a really nice secure passcode as well.
Oh my god, I feel it coming. I need to join this roomie group fast, guys. Let me go ahead and join real quick.
Hey, this is so cute. We can even customize our own avatars. Hey, look at this nice hair.
Yo, this is so sick. You can even put on custom sunglasses. Yo, this is so tough. Where's the poop avatar though? Like, I'm trying to see the poop avatar. Yeah, those are my sick, tough sunglasses right there.
Oh, I know he's blown up that toilet now. We gotta add it as a task. He's gotta clean it up by tonight, because truth be told, I know he's gonna need it again tomorrow. And let's make it 20 points so we can encourage this behavior. And now Moses should see it appear on his end.
Oh, look, a new task? Oh my god. I guess I'll leave it there to let the stink marinate just like a little bit longer. Let me look at what other tasks I can do in the meantime. Okay, I think it's time to clean the bathroom now. And there we go. Now I'm done, so I can click on the task and mark it as complete. And you can see I get 20 points because I'm the GOAT.
Yay, I can finally breathe now. But this might mean he's ahead of me in points. Let's check the leaderboard.
Yo, I'm first place. Okay, disappeared. But I was first.
Oh, keep in mind the app is a little slow and avatars are only saved locally for now, but we'll fix that later. Please use our app. Yeah, thank you guys.
That was very unexpected and not part of their practice showcase. And if you guys still need the password and everything, if you guys were downloading the app, feel free. I'll give you guys another few seconds, like a countdown, like 10, 9, 8. I'm seeing a lot of phones still, so I'm just gonna leave it up for a few minutes or like a minute. Okay, and I'll put this up at like the end of the presentations again as well, just in case you guys didn't get to it. But for now, we will move on to the next project. Maybe snap a picture of this or something if you're still working on it. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Next project is Capsule. So if Capsule could come up here.
Oh, thanks. Yo, how do you go to that side? Oh, hi everyone. We're Capsule, and we wanted to reimagine how we store memories through play. So, I'm Emmi, and I'm the design PL.
I'm Sharia. I'm the developer PL.
I'm Luca. I'm a developer.
I'm Lori. I'm a developer.
I'm Shaming. I'm a developer.
I'm Brian. I'm designer.
I'm also Brian. I'm also a designer.
I'm Nana. I'm the last designer.
Oh, so does anyone else's camera roll look like this? Just an endless like collection of memories, and you sort of forget where the most important photos are sometimes. Yeah, okay. So because this is a problem for a lot of people, we wanted to reimagine like and solve the problem of like the unseen memories within your camera roll and sort of give them a new space and like transform them through the digital verse to be more immersive. And today's memories are stored like files, but they should be stored more as stories. So we took a lot of inspiration from like gachapon machines and like arcade and video styles because we wanted to tap into a nostalgic aesthetic and sort of take away from like video gaming and like retro arcade like aesthetics.
Yeah, so our project is built around this idea of a 3D online gacha machine where you can upload photos as memories and share it with your friends. So this is some of our early iterations for the design of the machine. We wanted to go for a really rounded and fun aesthetic, so users are encouraged to use it. And then after these sketches, we moved on to 3D modeling, and then we worked on animation.
Yeah, after making the 3D assets on Blender, we decided to create more interactive and fun animations by using Spline. So we moved the files into Spline from Blender and was able to create animations such as like the machine looking at the cursor, and then you can drag and drop. So we try to create those like feelings of pleasure that you feel if you've ever played Pokemon TCG, kind of those feelings. And yeah, we were able to successfully incorporate that in our product.
Oh yeah, so we support like standard authentication login, like just with your email. We also support like the Google login.
Yeah, so when you log in, you're brought to a homepage where you can toggle between views. There's a grid view as well as like kind of a carousel view where you can toggle between different capsules. And the 3D animations are powered by Spline, and the views like display the user's time capsules and capsule information such as the name, the opening date, as well as you can click a share link to get a code to join other people's capsules.
Yeah, so another one of the primary functionalities is that you can upload any pictures or images or videos that you fondly associated with this memory, which is then stored in an Amazon S3 bucket and prompts this absolute wizardry of a front-end design. Very cool.
So yeah, Luca kind of mentioned it, but basically you create your own time capsule. Pretty simple, just like a 2-button process. And ideas could be like maybe a personal time capsule for yourself, maybe you have one for your, family, close relatives, and then maybe we have like for clubs. So we would have like a Penn Spark one. Next slide. So once you create your time capsule, we have like different features. One of them is like customization. We want to kind of lean into that. We have such a great 3D model. So we wanted to kind of extenuate it and make it more playful. So Brian was able, I guess both Brians were able to kind of make these shaders for our tune capsules. You can go in, change the style for each of them. Yeah. And then the main feature is opening a time capsule. So on the opening date, basically there'll be a golden like open capsule button. And only on that day, you can basically open your time capsule and you'll basically play this animation. And what will happen is all your images, videos will be loaded into this kind of interactive 3D kind of parallax space where you can kind of see all your memories at once. And then you can basically navigate, you can quickly see pictures from kind of curated from whatever you upload. And this works, with multiple people. Yeah. Yeah.
So through this project, we really wanted to turn the uploads into an interactive gamified concept to make it more immersive and more fun. And we wanted to unlock surprise and nostalgia through the 3D storytelling. And we wanted to make these memories feel not just like photos, but memories that are stored, shared, felt within a digital space. And then in terms of our timeline, because we were working with a tight crunch, our design team was sort of split into two, where like me and Nan were working on like the hi-fis, and then the Bryans were working on the 3D modeling and like the Blender and Spline like workflow.
And then for back and front end, basically me and Luca worked heavily on the back end while Lori and Shireen worked on the front end. Yeah.
Yeah. So zooming out into the big picture a little bit, this is like the overall like user flow where we like mapped out all the potential like pages and user features that a user could interact with, such as like the login page, the capsule creation page, and also the sharing function. We tried to incorporate multiple user features so that we would ensure that a user would be using our platform on a regular basis, but we also wanted to balance this out with a minimal user flow so that there would be a reduced number of clicks to get to a certain function and also ensure a minimal and simple user flow.
So yeah, that's our tech stack. Very interesting. We have Blender and Spline on the front end to develop the 3D animations, which are then interpolated into the code using Rack 3 Fiber, which is just a JavaScript library. And then we use Tailwind for the front end styling. As for the back end, we set up the back end API endpoints through Node.js and stored the files in AWS S3 bucket, as well as the other user information in MongoDB. Thank you.
Great job, guys. Next up, Internet Atlas.
Hi, our project is called Internet Atlas. So a bit about our team is Estelle and I are the PLs, and we have our wonderful dev team, David, Brandon, Eric, Jim, and Joseph, who's not here, but he has a video, and Fiona. So the general question that prompted us to start this project is essentially, what if we mapped kind of our paths on the internet, right?
So we realized that as a lot of our data is being passed around, both in terms of socially and also in terms of big companies gathering our data and using it to analyze their behavior, we realized that us as just ordinary people, and especially people who aren't that familiar with tech, aren't, well, first of all, aware of how their data moves around in space, and are also a little bit fearful of concepts like big data or AI because those kinds of concepts and workings aren't communicated to them in a way that is digestible and human. So we really wanted this project to be a space both for self-reflection, for people to see, oh, this is how we travel through the internet as individuals and as a collective. We also wanted to focus on awareness of data autonomy, showing people this is how your data can be exposed to the world, but this is also how you can understand how it works and almost take ownership of that information. And then we also wanted it to be a space to have fun. We didn't want to scare people. This is just a space to play around with information and see how stuff moves around. It's pretty cool. So let's go to the demo.
Awesome. We're just going to jump right in. I'm going to talk over kind of this walkthrough. And yeah, so basically you're greeted by this front end page that's kind of playful. You can kind of move things around. You can go into separate cards and be like, what is like, who are we? And kind of how are we using this data, right? In a kind of more transparent manner. And when you enter it, it takes a second to load, I would say. But when you load, you could see this kind of map that essentially maps out how people use the internet, right? And there's these axes I could see on the top and on the right that are kind of like adjectives for this. So what you see right now on the screen is peace and organic kind of like websites. And it kind of maps these in a sort of like spatial sense. And you can click on these nodes, and bigger nodes are called landmarks, which essentially are very frequently visited by people. So you could see kind of data about it. And when you zoom out, you can see when we actually click on a user path, it just also takes a second to load, and you select which user it is. It actually kind of traces their path along the entire space in a really cool way. So that's really cool, I think. And it tells you kind of more information about kind of how many websites they visited, what's sort of like average time per day on this specific site, for instance. And that's pretty much for our demo. And let's see, we could go to the next slide. So I was going to talk a bit about our design references.
Yep. So we were really inspired by more organic, more conceptual forms. Like you can see there's like neurons and fungi, because we saw that data was perceived as this like almost quantitative, very like brick by brick, like there's like CSV files or Excel files. We didn't want to see it like that. We wanted it to be more living, something that you can look at and say, wait, like I can actually make my interpretations of this without thinking too much about the numbers. So those are kind of the forms we were inspired by. Maybe you could see it a little bit in our demo. And as well as, just to add on to that, when we talked to a lot of people about our project, initially we didn't have this homepage, but a lot of people that we had conversations with were like, wait, why are you guys making this project? Like, how are you guys using this data? Like, why are people's informations just on a random website that you're distributing? So we wanted to also use this as an opportunity to educate people on the internet about data and AI and make it a less foreign, intimidating concept. So we added little nodes on this 2D graph to explain how our system works, and hopefully it provides insight into people, insight for people. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically we have like slideshows that really show like how we're using this, like how our like machine learning algorithm works, like behind it, how we do the visualizations to give people a sense of like how we're using this data. And also like we really want to emphasize that we're very harmless. We're not collecting personal data from your laptop, so that we really want to like emphasize that point in these slides.
So we wanted to make a mapping that, as you can see, as inspired by our forms we showed before. We wanted to look organic, we wanted to look playful, so you can see the colors and the little wheels you can turn to switch the axes around. It's all very intuitive. Even if you don't quite understand what's going on, it makes you want to click on things and play with it. And eventually, we hope each person will extract their own sort of meaning from it.
Yeah, so we wanted to make the elements that people can actually interact with. We wanted to make the design like very intuitive. For the path, when a user clicks on a path, then they can like track the information about a user's journey. Yeah, and the user can also select individual nodes and landmarks. And like Ruth mentioned before, landmarks are just bigger nodes with a lot more traffic.
Here are just a few of our design iterations. We just ran through variations of sort of axes and playing with how data is clustered. And some specific design decisions is we want to take inspiration for our symbols from Conway's Game of Life. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically kind of like an like emergent behavioral thing where it's like certain pixels have like sets of rules and kind of these patterns emerge from that. So we thought it was really fitting to have a lot of like our logos and icons based off of that.
Yeah, so like specifically about our front end of landing page, we use like the D3 library to really create like the organic and like kind of sense. And then we have a force graph we can drag around to like, and then click through everything.
Yeah, and a lot of our front end is developed in 3D using React 3 Fiber. We wanted to fine tune a 3D force graph, so it could be a lot more interactable and have a lot of interactive 3D components. Yeah, and yeah, the 3D force graph has X, Y, Z axes, and the Z axis is associated with the time. We also integrated a lot of like zoom and pan functionality.
Yeah, and a lot of the backend was about given the website, how do we best have a model that represents all the text and the images inside of it to map it onto our website, depending on given keywords. And a lot of our other developers will talk about the process of how we got to that.
Yeah, so he mentioned this process of creating embeddings. So we had various methods how we wanted to approach this. One method we looked into was using a model that could process both text and image data at the same time and to create these similarity scores that we would use in our visual diagrams. However, then we decided we wanted to split, based on what we observed, we wanted to split into two different models which could process text and images separately just to capture more nuance. So we looked into this, and then furthermore, once we developed this out, then we decided, oh, okay, this takes a lot of extra computational power on our, on our resources. Why don't we delegate this to the Gemini LLM? And then with Gemini LLM, we found a lot of accuracy. So we went through a huge iterative process, and then this is the final version that we have on our website currently. And then the last part is we're just currently just experimenting, finding ways to improve our model, so and our, our visuals. So currently, of course, the objective is to make it educational and like accessible to the user. So we're finding ways to make it such that the sorting is more understandable visibly with like clustering, for example.
So after we figured out kind of where to place our websites in the 3D space, all that was left to do was to kind of visualize the paths of users throughout the internet. And to do this, we stored a bunch of data that we got from this very large data set on users' browsing history, and in a Postgres database hosted on Supabase. And after that, we had to kind of work over like a couple of weeks in order to figure out how to best return that data, and then finally how to visualize it effectively on the front end to give people the power to kind of visualize what's going on in the data set.
Awesome. So basically, next steps for this project looks like we're having conversations with people over at the Price Digital Humanities Grant. So we're looking forward to kind of potentially putting this up as a sort of kind of installation and kind of a public space to kind of spread the word and awareness about kind of like data use and things like that. And we're also continuing on kind of implementing live data with this. So originally it's going to be a Google Chrome extension that you can actually install and see how your own path actually kind of plays out across this map. And also more experimentation with diverse data sets. Our current data set is some like German, like a huge German data set. And before we move on to kind of this QR code that you can scan, be aware that this is a not filtered data set. So there are some 18 plus websites on there. But thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Feel free to play around with this and please give us feedback. It'd be really helpful.
All right. Next up is the Penn Museum project. April. All right. April, come to this side.
Hi, everyone. We are Team Into the Blue. We made an interactive scavenger hunt experience in collaboration with the Penn Museum. Okay, so introducing the team, I'm April. I'm the design PL, and the other designers are Ani and Ruth.
Yeah, I'm Nick. I was the dev PL, and the other devs are Joyce, Xue, Estelle, and Meiling.
So a bit of background about the Penn Museum. The Penn Museum is Penn's archaeology and anthropology museum, established in 1887, and it currently hosts more than 180,000 visitors every year, including Penn students, Philly K-12 students, and also local families. And since 2015, 10 years ago, the museum has held a student exhibition program, which allows a couple undergrads every year to curate an exhibition that stays up for a year. And so this year's exhibition is called Into the Blue. It's a new exhibition that explores the color blue in archaeology, and it is on view right now through early 2026. And I was on the student exhibition team, and the team really wanted to connect this Into the Blue exhibit with the rest of the galleries and collections at the Penn Museum, and this became the inspiration for a Spark project. So to make this project happen, we collaborated a lot with the Penn Museum, including the exhibits team, marketing team, educational programs, digital media team, and we arrived at our main problem statement. Sorry, this is me, which is that the museum needs to spark curiosity and invite close looking across galleries, especially with young visitors, all in an experience that ties back into the blue.
So working with the museum throughout our meetings with the stakeholders, we realized there are some constraints to our work. The first one is, given the museum's historical context, we couldn't really use a lot of cultural text due to several rounds of going through the museum's marketing and curatorial team. Also, we couldn't distort any of the images. And then obviously the timeline and technology constraint we had. And one more thing was that the users could start their location at any type of galleries. So we had to keep these four in mind when we wanted to develop our product. With constraints, we also came up with guiding design principles when we designed our platform. The first one is to encourage object interaction among our visitors, also creation itself as well. and then having the product, the experience like self-paced, so every visitor could really enjoy it on their own context and timeline. And then the fourth one is the social aspect of it. We really wanted to incorporate some type of share mechanism where you can feel connected to the other players as well.
Yeah, so putting that all together, our solution looks something like a combination of a scavenger hunt and a sticker book web app. So basically, the user has to find different blue themed objects and basically collect them into a customizable sticker book. So it's kind of a project overview. Imagine you're actually like a student visiting the Penn Museum. So that's you. And when you come in, you kind of scan this QR code that you see, right? You can kind of start anywhere. It's not really constrained to the beginning. So once you actually come into it, you see all these different exhibits and you enter the one that you're currently in. And the second objective is you want to find objects and capture photos. So when you enter this sort of page, what you see is kind of these cards of different objects that you want to find. And when you click on it, you are greeted by this sort of like camera interface that you can then take photos of. After you take photos, basically what it does, it essentially stickerifies your photo. So it converts them to a sticker format that you can then use and place into your sticker book with all sorts of like other miscellaneous stickers and like statistics, just to add a little bit of personal touch to it. And the fourth step is when you export and share, what that looks like is it brings up like this comprehensive list of statistics that you have, as well as your own little collector personality. So if you're like a completionist, it would tell you so. If you didn't really find a lot of objects, you'd be like a minimalist. And you can also send it to your friends just to kind of play into that social aspect.
Yeah, so our dev team, it took a village to get this one done, especially since we started especially early as the exhibit opened in late March. So the different contributions here were Shea worked on the animation and the exhibit page. Estelle and Meiling worked on the camera and sticker creation feature as well as the sticker book. Joyce worked on the museum map and I worked on the stats and deployment of the app. So then I will hand it off.
Okay. So when you first enter the website, you're greeted by like a basic list view of all the regions you can enter, which is how the user navigates the whole set of artifacts. And to make it more like playful, we decided to add also a interactive map, which you can use to navigate the exhibit. And unfortunately, that was entirely hard coded. So it took a while, but I think the end product looks pretty good.
Yeah, so to continue on the mission of making it more fun and interactive, we try to add a lot of fun and playful interactions and transitions and animations to this app that you can see throughout your flow of interacting with the app. On every transition between pages or between elements, there is some sort of interactivity or micro transition that just makes the app more lively. So there are just some examples that you can see that are showcased on the slide. And for this, we utilized anime.js, and also our entire app is coded in Tailwind CSS, which is more lightweight and accessible. So after a user enters an exhibition, we created a page where they could collect artifacts and put it into their own sticker book. So kind of on the more surface level, you can see the webcam input is translated onto the screen, and that's actually translated into another space where you can kind of cut it out into the shape of an SVG or like a path that's on the screen right now. And then afterwards, the program actually processes it so that it's drawn as a PNG, just like pixel image within outlines, and that image is stored in an index database, which is basically a storage bucket that helps the website act like an app. So even if you exit or you like restart your phone, it'll still be there. So you can save your progress no matter what you do.
The sticker book was especially important to us because we wanted a way for users to kind of create something of their own while they traversed the exhibit and be able to take it away via the export button. So one of the biggest challenges with the sticker book was getting the stickers to drag smoothly across the page, especially when using the app on a small mobile screen. So first we tried a library called React Movable, which kind of worked. Wasn't the best. So then we moved to React Draggable, which was slightly better, but it was still not the smoothest, most intuitive interface. So finally, I was like, you know what, we're just gonna program in the actual math of where the sticker needs to move every time you rotate it or resize or drag it. And that worked out pretty well, as you can see from the animation.
Yeah, I worked on the stats page, which you'll see on like that middle column there. And that was just an interesting exercise in like collecting some information about the person's hunt. I also worked on deployment, which was probably the biggest part of what I did. And converting the site from like a site that runs on your computer to something that packages to a folder and runs on the museum server was a really big undertaking, especially because we needed to change a lot of like very specific things with the asset paths and compress all of the files. And when you build the site, and which is like when you turn it from your project into a folder, a whole host of errors came up that needed to go in and fix. So yeah. Then on wait, was this my slide? Okay.
Okay. So the exhibit opened on March 28th with an opening reception. And at this reception, we did a beta launch of the app where we launched our first version, and we had visitors test out the app where we were able to get a lot of good user testing and also stress testing insights.
Yeah, so a little bit about our timeline and process you guys can see. So after delivering, shipping the V1 for the museum, right now we, based on our user tests and insights, we worked on the V2 and also fixing some bugs from the developer side as well. And the goal is to have it for a permanent use in the museum. So some of our design decisions that we made throughout this journey, one, we found that the sticker book mechanism among our users was a little bit hard to use still, especially on the right or the left screen. You can see that the delete and the resize button is on the object at the same time, and we realized that the touch areas might overlap for smaller stickers. So we ended up separating the two functions or features. And again, when we were testing, we realized that a lot of our users, even if they were familiar with the concept, they still needed a lot of guidance in the museum space itself. So we came up with the idea of implementing a guided tutorial in the beginning to kind of help them go through that first flow, and then also set a context of trying to search for blue objects in the galleries. And then, so originally, on the left screen, you can see that the Finish Hunt button is on the home page, but we realized that a lot of our users didn't really notice that. So we moved that whole entire flow, getting your last stats and your sticker book download in the sticker book page. So it would be easier for the users and less frictionless. And then lastly, as our developers also talked about it, we really wanted to add more and more delight and micro interactions, including adding a character design or some type of avatar to the experience, and also redesign the homepage and try to create a consistent motion language all across our platform.
Yeah, so thank you for bearing with us. And our app is deployed, it's available. You can, test it out now. We have this QR code, and I encourage you guys to wait until after the presentations. We actually have, if you look to your right on that wall there's a little mysterious poster of an urn, and around the auditorium, as well as up on the second floor of Levine, where all of the other wonderful projects will be demoed, we have a bunch of posters up that will let you simulate the museum experience and test it out. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and we're gonna move on. Now we will do our blue projects. Don't worry guys, these are a little bit shorter. These are our bootcamp projects, and I'll let Raphael tell you a little bit about that.
Yep, thank you, Nick. A little more on blue. As André said, one of our core pillars for Spark is education. And I lead the education branch known as Spark Blue. Basically, how this works is we take anyone from any level in both design and development in the fall and take them through a 10-week boot camp where we teach them lessons and have them do deliverables based on what track they're on. Then in the spring, they use what they've learned in the boot camp to create their own projects that they themselves lead. And I'm super excited to share them with you because for a lot of them, it's like their first projects that they made independently. But obviously, they couldn't have done it without our wonderful help from instructors in the fall and our mentors in the spring. So again, like really huge shout out to all of the mentors that helped out with these groups. But more importantly, of course, the work themselves that they put into it. I'm really proud of what's like come out, and I'm super excited for them to share what they've done. So without further ado, can we have Dearly come up, please?
Oh my gosh, like I'm so hungry. Like I'm literally starving.
I'm so hungry. Wait, we're so hungry.
We could eat Raphael, Renzo, Ceballo, Martinez. Oh my goodness, wait. There's a letter from Gia and Brianna. Maybe we should open this instead. I wonder what's inside. Whoa, dearly, what's this? Okay, yeah.
All right, that was just a quick sneak peek of what's to come. But yeah, our app is called Dearly, and it's kind of built on this idea that okay, I'll kind of start with an anecdote. I love handwritten letters. Like I like mail letters to my friends that go to different colleges, and I think it's like the greatest thing ever. But one thing I've noticed is that you can send letters and you can save them, but they're not really tailored for the specific situation. So, kind of confronted with this problem, for one of my friend's birthdays, I created, you'll kind of see this later, this open when concept. So she was like going to Houston for college, and I wanted to be there with her when I couldn't be there with her. So I made her like all these little letters, like open when you just like did amazing on your final, or open when you're really sad. And these are like kind of similar examples. And then I gave them to her when she left for college. But I never got those letters, or nobody ever did that for me. And I was like kind of thinking about a way to digitize this experience. And that's essentially what Dearly ended up becoming. So this is our team. I'm GM, a developer.
I'm Brianna. Also a developer.
I'm Kevin. I'm a designer.
And I'm Nisha, the other designer.
Okay, so to talk more about the concept, kind of like what Gio was talking about before, you know, like now like society like moves so quickly, like no one ever really stops and thinks like, oh, like I want to send this like certain you know, concept and note to my friend. You know, like you send like your reels about like tralaleo tralala or like twing 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 so here. But you know, like it's not the same. Like sometimes like there is a sentiment there. However, you know, just like stopping and writing something for your friend is like really meaningful. If you ever had like a birthday card or something and all your friends are like writing something like really meaningful to you, or like on your birthday, like people are texting you like, oh my gosh, like to know you is to love you or something. Like things like that. Like it just really gets to you. And like when you read every single word, it's really like, wow, they stopped to write this for me. And so we kind of wanted to, you know, use the fact that everyone is online, like iPad kids nowadays, and to actually like really make that into a concept where we have like a digital platform where friends, you know, like maybe like random strangers, hopefully kind strangers, can, you know, send you like letters to really uplift you for any moment that you're like feeling down or whatever, like after an exam, or maybe like you're just like feeling like sad for whatever reason. And so we kind of wanted to make life happy like that.
Okay, so this is the demo. I'll kind of speak through it. So this is just the login page. You can just sign up with email, but In this example, I just used Google authentication. So yeah, I'm signed in. And then once you like enter, this is the home page. And then if you have mail, it'll give you this notification and you can open your mailbox. And here in this example, I have a letter from Brianna to open when I'm hungry. So um so this is like some letter that she gave me. And then we also included like reply kind of like stickers. So you can like, also that was like an example when I was testing out. But like then I like write some reply. And I also put my Venmo. um, so yeah, this is just like a way to still keep the interaction going after they send you the message. So that's like the receiving filter or portion. And then you can also write a letter, obviously. So these are different prompts that were preloaded, but you can also write your own prompt. So I just think for this example, I did open when you're stressed. And then my only friend was Brianna. So I just wrote like a little letter to Brianna to like, I don't know, I'll just kind of skip through this because I was kind of, oh shoot. Okay, yeah, just some like sappy sentimental letter that I was writing. I love Brianna. Okay, and then yeah, so then you can send the letter and there's like this little micro animation, and then this is your profile here, and then you can also add friends, but in this case no one's signed up on the app, so I couldn't really add them. But if you were to, you could just like add their email there. And yeah, that's essentially like how you would navigate through the app. Yeah. Wait, we have a little more.
We're gonna explain like the time frame we went through when it came to design.
Yeah, so we originally started with just like looking on Pinterest and stuff for like cozy male type aesthetic things. And then we did a beautiful sketch there into our first iteration, which didn't really look like what we're like envisioning for our inspo. It was kind of corporate and like too dark. So we decided to make it more cozy with our final design, which we will show now.
Wait, yeah, like what Kevin said, our first design was very like dark, and we thought that it'd give like a really like productivity aesthetic. Like with the mailboxes, we were kind of going for like a Spotify look. But then after midpoint check-in, we kind of realized we wanted a more cozy, like letter-looking aesthetic, like these letters. So slowly we went through and changed all the different designs. Okay, so for like the login screen, you can see that like we got a little deer mascot to go with the theme, and then made it so like you didn't only have to like continue with Google, like you could also sign up with like an email and password.
Yeah, so we made like a little mailbox to kind of like give the mailbox theme in Blender.
And then for the view mailbox and then the archive screen, we really just changed like the color palette to more like better match like what we were going for.
Yeah. Yeah, the colors were very cool.
And then like, wait, Gia, can you click back? The right screen you could see we had before was super intimidating, really long, like no like space for like personalization. So we decided to change that, and we made it so you can see the prompts better. You can actually like remember who you're actually sending the letter to. And then the boxes are kind of bigger to add different things. And then like the letter size isn't so big, so you won't feel intimidated thinking like you have to write a whole essay to send to somebody. Here are a couple of our other screens. Our profile screen where you can favorite some of your letters that you really want to go back to. we implemented a confirm space, like in case like you accidentally like click something, we want to make sure like you're picking the right person. And then like every loading screen has our little deer mascot as well.
So one thing we learned along the way, and unfortunately too late, was the importance of like mapping out our architecture. So when we first started, we kind of just like jumped right in and just started building. And then that was like clearly not the best solution because we realized that things weren't working and we kind of just like had to go back and forth and like spend an additional like multiple hours like fixing things that we didn't really have to have this problem in the beginning, but now we know for next time to map it out. And yeah, it's an important lesson for everyone. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys. Next up is Align. Oh. There we go.
Hello, everybody. We are Align, an app that makes meetings made easy. And this is our team.
I'm Luca, I'm a designer.
I'm Jamie, I'm also a developer. Okay, so how often have you been asked to do a when to meet? Let's walk through the process. You click the link and immediately you're hit with unappealing aesthetics of a default font on some blank background, and it's just like too much going on at once. You'll realize the lack of phone compatibility as well as lack of functionality. Why can I only see half the calendar at once? Like I'm trying to scroll around finding things that don't exist on the page, as well as an information overload. There's just so many things to look at. There's 2 different grids, just so much going on. My eyes don't know where to look, and it's just not a pleasant experience. So what's our solution? Introducing Align. So Align is an app that combines the functionality of when to meet with the playful and collaborative feel that really allows communities to schedule and plan events with both efficiency and aesthetics. Today, we're going to be walking through our product, so what it is that we made, as well as how we made it from both a design and developer standpoint.
Okay, so starting off, we're just going to do an overview of our product. So here are some of our main features and some of our pages. So we wanted to like ensure a clean and navigable user interface. Event creation, we both have like options for a recurring meeting and like specific meetings. And for an event, you can include like the name, the dates, the times. Some more pages. One like additional functionality that we wanted to include was like whether or not a time is a priority or non-priority for whatever user is filling out like the form. In addition to that, we have like user authentication and ability to like look through individual and group availability.
Now, as a designer, the hardest part of the process is figuring out where to start. So we went to the drawing board and searched for inspiration. And what we found was that a soft palette of yellows, greens, blues, oranges, and pinks could combine to evoke an energetic yet friendly tone, making Align engaging for users from its first glance. And to complement this first impression, we wanted to include rounded shapes and soft edges to create an even more informal, welcoming space. But translating that was the biggest challenge. So we took it step by step. We began by creating a simple interface, emphasizing shape language through circles, triangles, and stars. We then separated the user flow into discrete steps to minimize choice overload for anyone using Align. And after a few iterations, we found that large targets grouped within a common boundary could help elevate the website's ease of use even more. So here's a few iterations that we went through on the design side to make Align even more vibrant and welcoming. The home screen went from dark to bright and radiant, and we included a toggle to allow instant switching between your availability and everyone else's.
And now we have some our developer highlights. So for our tech stack, we used React for the front end, Node and Express for back end, as well as Supabase for our database.
Okay, and now we're getting to our demo. So our like website is deployed. These are like two different pages you can go on. The first one brings you to the home screen, and the second one brings you to like an example of a viewing page. I'll wait for like a few seconds. Okay. I'm also just gonna go over like a video demo. So here's like our home screen. We have an option to like sign in, which you will have to do if you want to like create a meeting. And with that, like signing up or registering is included as well. I just signed in with like a random email for this demo. And then from there, you can like create a meeting. Like the design demo, you have an option between recurring and specific events. And if you click a specific event, we have an option for the name, the different times, and then also like the specific dates. Like a recurring meeting, instead of like a specific dates, you would have like days of the week to pick instead. So after you finish that and you click next, you're brought to like the viewing page. This is like a new meeting, so no one's filled it out yet, but if you like toggle from group availability to individual availability, you are able to like fill it out when you're available. And you can also, yeah, and then it changes like when you click that to the group availability. And then yeah, you can also do like non-priority, which makes it a different color. And then that makes it like a little bit less opaque because you're not as available. And it shows that you're like maybe available during that time. Okay, and then this is like an example of like a very filled out availability page. You can see there's a lot of like different opacities going on, and when you hover over things, you can see like when people are available, when people are maybe available, and then unavailable. And yeah, and then also when you're signed in, you can have like account details, you can edit those details, and you can also sign out. So this is the last thing. You guys can probably already tell, but we try to make it very usable on phones. So a lot of this included like keeping all the design, like the CSS, very responsive to make sure that it's easy for mobile users to use, because that's like a very like a large like main device that people will be using our app on. So as you can see here, we like went through all the same steps, but on like a smaller screen, and it all looks and works fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's everything. Thank you guys.
Yeah, they used to be called Meat Maker. That was a great name, I thought. All right, next up is Franklin Benchmark.
So here's a question for everyone. Do we really pay attention in class? No, we don't. But what do we do instead? We play the New York Times crossword puzzle.
Game Pigeon.
And so, yeah, we are Franklin Benchmark, and we basically quantify imposter syndrome. What does that mean? We want to turn all of these distractions that you can have in class onto one website, so it's easy for everyone to get distracted together.
Here are our project goals. Our first goal is competition. We basically just wanted to make something that you could just compete against Penn students in a healthy way. And our second project goal is something that was more contagious, something that if you see your classmate playing it in class, you would want to play it as well. And I'm Sam, and I scored 300 words per minute on Monkey Type.
I'm Seth. I have a negative 10 millisecond reaction time, so I can predict the future.
And hi, I'm Zara, and I can taste colors.
Here are some of our mini games. First one we have is reaction time. Pretty simple. How fast can you react? Next up, we have quick arithmetic. So if you guys heard of Zeta Mac, this is our analogy to that. So you can just, like solve the math problems as fast as possible and see how quick you are. And lastly, we have button masher. Pretty simple. Just mash the button as fast as you can.
Yeah, and so for our first iteration of designs, we really wanted to do something playful and something that might be a lot of fun, but we realized this looked really elementary and really it was a lot to look at, very childish looking. So in my reiteration of the designs, I wanted to do something a little bit more playful, but still less school looking. And I tried to put a lot of like primary colors and vibrant saturation, as well as a lot of really nice icons for that visual imagery. Here's our quick math. We changed word guesser to our button masher game, and this is also like a little kind of Easter egg for Penn students because of the button there, which I wanted to kind of emulate the button in front of Van Pelt. We had our speed typing game, our reaction time, which also has a leaderboard as well and some stats, and a pitch matcher game, as well as our dashboard. And so some of these mini games are ones that we hope to implement in the future as well, but we haven't yet. Pitch matcher, especially because so many Penn students tend to brag that they have perfect pitch. Here's time to finally test whether that is true or not. We also added another friend section so you can have followers and also see like which friends have what stats, and if you have someone that you really hate and you just want to be better at them and everything, you can check. But yeah, here are some highlights. We have the homepage, our dashboard, and the button masher, as you can see here, as well as a navigation board. And yeah, that's for the designs.
Yeah, so here's our initial front-end designs. It's a spaghetti code, and very lo-fi designs. But we made everything, we refactored everything so that it looks better, and we also added a dashboard.
Yeah, but then after a bit, we were able to add in Zara's hi-fi design. So here's like a demo of our navigation. So very simple, very intuitive. You can log in with like Google, so you can use your Google Gmail to log in to create an account. And then you can go play the different games. Here we have reaction time. You can go back, go play quick math. So this is like similar to Zeta Mac, like I said. And then here we have the button masher. You can also go to your account dashboard, tells you like your score, your ranking, stuff like that. And lastly, you can just log out and like log in with a different account if you want. Here's our reaction time game. So very simple. You click on the thing, wait for it to turn green, and you click it again. So monkey see, monkey click, kinda. And then here you have like, your score, your high score, your rank, and stuff like that. Quick math, again, very simple. Just solve it. It's like Zeta Mac, again, where you don't need to press enter. It just goes on to the next question right away. Here, the time limit is 20 seconds. This is for demo purposes. In the real like final product, it is 2 minutes. And here I just gave up because, yeah. Lastly, we have the button masher. So similar to what Zara said, we have the button like logo as an Easter egg, and you just mash it. For our tech stack, we use React for our front end, Fetch to talk between the front end and back end, Node.js and Express for our back end like server. So very simple stuff. For the hosting, we use Supabase and Postgres just because it was free and it was pretty easy to set up our cloud databases. Here's a quick ER diagram, not to go into any technical details, but if you want to see how like the databases are constructed with the constraints, there you have them.
Okay, so some difficulties that we encountered. So basically, Seth was the back end, I was the front end, he was the right hand, I was the left hand. There's some, we were trying to synchronize our developments, but it was kind of hard. One example that was I tried to create like a username. When you input the username, you type it in after you submit your score. But then Seth incorporated a Google authentication, so we had to communicate and compromise to overcome that obstacle.
Another difficulty that we had was that it may sound very like stupid, but it actually turned out to be a big difficulty. Was that we use different standardization for our naming convention. For the backend, I use snake case, but for the front end, we use camel case. And that kind of messed up a bunch of stuff that took a bit longer than we expected to like resolve. But yeah, that's our project. We'll have the table out back and then you can, test your skills. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys. Next up is, do you want me to? I'll wait. I'll wait.
Oh my God. Have you heard? Penn Dining says Commons has Korean barbecue.
There's no way. I was literally there 30 minutes ago and they had soggy chicken and potatoes again.
Soggy chicken? Are you serious? Ugh, why is the menu so confusing?
And don't even get me started about trying to find reviews.
Like, I just want to know where to spend my swipes and where to eat. Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever fallen prey to the devious mind games played by the fiendish Penn Dining? Well, starve no more, because you're in luck. Introducing Penne!
Student reviews and ratings, real feedback from your friends and peers.
Real-time menus, no more guessing what's actually being served.
Dining hall rankings, see which spots are top rated and which ones are not.
And finally, friend activity feed. See what your friends are eating and where.
So this is our team. I'm Surabhi, I'm a blue designer.
I'm Kay, I'm a blue dev.
I'm Wesley, I'm a blue dev.
I'm Melody, I'm a blue designer.
So what is Penne? Penne is a food tracking and social dining app made especially for Penn students. Students can explore dining hall options, track meals, and connect with friends through the app. So our inspiration from Penne came from Belly. But what sets Penne apart? First and foremost, Penne is tailored for Penn students. We wanted to build a platform where students could not only track their dining experiences, but also bond with friends over shared meals. Apps like Belly focus on restaurants and established eating places, but they don't capture the dining experience that makes up much of student life. Another thing is design. If you look at Belly's logo, they have this like forest green color that kind of makes the majority of the app, but we wanted to make it more vibrant and playful and also establish a pleasing aesthetic. And then lastly, we asked friends and peers, and we noticed that Belly was difficult to navigate with a lot of small text and a lot of heavy text as well. And so with Penne, we wanted to focus on accessibility and ease of use.
All right, so there are a few problems that we're trying to address with Penne. The first is that students don't always know where to eat. Like you might, today you might want to go to Commons, but you don't know whether like the food is good or bad or anything like that, right? Another problem is that there are sometimes dietary restrictions that might make meal choices harder. Dining hall options can feel overwhelming or unclear again with like the menus. And then the fourth problem is like there's no easy way to track meals or share experiences. So Penne is here to address all of that, give you some insight into like the dining hall options and also make it more of a social experience, right?
So we had 4 main MVPs for our project. Our first MVP was that users can rate their dining experiences on a scale of 1 to 10. And we achieved this through an inbuilt survey feature. And this essentially helps other users see like what other students have rated the dining halls. Our second MVP was a friend follow feature, as well as having users be able to see like live feeds of what their friends are rating the dining halls and dishes, and comments and pictures that were uploaded. And this makes our app very interactive, and it kind of creates a community and allows different students to bond over their food journeys.
Our third MVP was a leaderboard, which ranks all the dining halls. And we did this by taking all of the ratings from all students over all visits and averaging them. And so this is just an easy way for students to see like which dining halls are trending that day and which ones to avoid. And then our fourth MVP was a like and dislike feature for all the dishes. So students can see the total amount of likes and dislikes that have been accumulated for a particular dish that day. And that kind of informs them like, oh, should I go to this dining hall or not?
Yeah, so our first iteration is literally just our lo-fi but in color, which sounds simple when I put it like that, but in actuality, nuh-uh. Color ended up becoming our most treacherous enemy because we were out here in the trenches fighting for our lives, trying to concoct the right color palette. Like, we wanted colors that said pasta without screaming gaudy, and we wanted them to also say ritzy without screeching kitschy. So, yeah, that was a delicate tightrope balance that we totally flopped on. Orange and green, our main colors, ended up also becoming our main ops. They were a match made in hell. And then we also started out with grandiose dreams of a mixed media app incorporating hand-drawn elements like that Penne logo over there. You can see that it's got like the Penne pasta noodle and the basil leaf curving into the P. And we thought we were clever with it, but we were brutally rebuffed by reality. When we actually started laying out our ideas in Figma, we realized, whoa, this looks terrible. So the textured pencil was actually clashing horribly with the polished interface. And we were in despair. Like, at this point, we were in the pits. We just started, we were already at our lowest. Frankly, incredible. Yeah. Okay. In a haze of despair, I cooked up this version at 5 a.m. and we actually ended up liking it. So this is the iteration where we transitioned into fully embracing our fine dining visual identity with a new color palette, a new logo, new typefaces with serifs and cursives, and yeah, also our new quirked up checkerboard pattern, which is like to resemble restaurant napkins and tablecloths. So that was totally awesome. And then, but this is also the version where we went totally ham on the gradients. And you guys said to actually not do that. So, oops. Yeah, the gradients were a serious impediment to accessibility. So you tell us to flatten the gradients. Okay, sure. We flatten the gradients. Bad idea. That murky green, this garish gray, nothing works. It's like, why do you look like that? So this was our faces looking at our app. Wow, we were so overjoyed, as you could tell. So we're back in the pits at this point. It's another low point. But we come to our senses. We realize it's time for a tactical retreat. We pivot to a new color palette. And then thank God for Surabhi because she saves the whole thing. She swoops in with this dreamy purple, orange, green trio, and it totally works perfectly. Like it's got that lovely lavender to replace our previous gray, a mellow orange that works harmoniously with its fellow color comrades, and a warm-toned green that no longer looks like moody, mossy vomit. So purple actually ended up linking the whole thing together. We didn't even realize we'd essentially recreated the complementary color trifecta until now. Like, it's just not that natural. Wait. We also refined the logo a bit. So yeah, our previous E was like way too cursive and abstract to even be recognizable as an E. And I just so happened to stumble across this new cursive typeface that gives the illusion it's curling around the N, but I wasn't even trying for that. Like, it's just works like that. Wow. Yeah. Okay, so reeling back the gradients, the glows, the drop shadows. That ended up being the right choice. So thank you for that feedback. So our app no longer looks like an artwork to be squinted at from far away. Now it actually looks like a design that can be used. So yay for that. And we're hoping that our final iteration is what finally improves drastically on accessibility with like text that's easy to read, an interface that's satisfying to navigate, and a purpose that's been fulfilled. So yay, our struggles are over. Well, for the designers at least. Let's see what the devs have cooked up.
Okay, so now into the dev process, we have this tech stack. um, yeah. So you got okay. Wait, let's just go back. So you can log in. So we got the email and password. And then these are like the overview. We have the home page where we can see all the stuff. We have the feed where all the comments are. We got the leaderboard and the profile. And looking into a profile first, we can first like update your information, like edit your username, email, and profile photo. We also have like the friends feature. We can add friends to expand your network. You can always manage privacy by controlling who can view your profile, and you can like do account settings like password and notifications too.
All right, another page that we have are the dining hall screens. So for all the dining halls, you'll be able to click into them and then see like the menu for the day and everything else that we display. So we display menu items each day for each dining hall. We have the ability to like or dislike each menu item, as you can see right there, right now. You can also create posts for dining halls, which should be right now, yeah. And that will be displayed in the feed for everyone to see. And then you can also rate a dining hall, so on a scale of like 1 to 10. And those ratings will be across like everyone, and they'll be like accumulated in the leaderboard for everyone to see. To actually get the menu, we created a scraper to essentially scrape every day. This runs once every morning to populate the database with like new menu items, and these are taken from like Penn's website online. To do this, we use like Cirillo, which is a scraper, and then we ran this automatically using GitHub Actions and cron, so it runs like once every morning.
So the other two pages are the feed and leaderboard. For the feed, you can like see real-time comments from other users about the dining halls. When you can like and reply to that too. And the leaderboards like it displays all the rankings of dining halls across all Penn users, so it accumulates all like the rankings and just the leaderboard.
So one challenge that we kind of faced while implementing the developer side was matching the front end design. So just matching the front end with the hi-fi design was a lot more work and a lot more difficult than we expected. So by the time the designers had essentially created their hi-fi designs, the developers, we were like pretty much done with our backend implementation, like all the database stuff and whatever. We thought the design or like getting the front end done would be pretty quick and easy, but it was a lot harder. So for example, like this leaderboard page, just like getting all the colors, fonts, and all the like layout to look as close as possible to the front end design was really hard. And to kind of overcome this challenge, we realized we had to like communicate a lot more with the designers than we thought. So when we first tried to implement this page, for example, the 3 podiums, like for the top 3, they were just like rectangles because we couldn't get the shapes perfectly right. But then when we talked to the designers, we realized the way that they actually implemented it with like every single podium is like 3 different shapes. So you have like your rectangle, the curved rectangle on top, and then on bottom. And then we realized like that's how we should also implement it in the front end design for the developers. So that's how we got everything to look like as close as possible.
So on an ending note, we wanted to go over some of our future considerations for Penne. First of all, in the future, we would like to like add gamification to increase engagement. So this is like having users earn daily streaks and badges just for like using the app and posting, etc. Another thing that we think would be cool is extending beyond the campus. So food carts near Penn's campus, as well as local spots in Philly that are affordable for Penn students. We would also like to add enhanced content features, such as spotlighting top photos of the day and adding interactive polls or questionnaires that users can engage with the app. And then lastly, adding smart features such as dish recommendations based on user preferences, as well as a calorie tracker so that students can track their calorie intake.
So we've actually also deployed this. So if you want to try it, download something called Expo Go, and then later we'll have this up when we do like walkarounds in the showcase. You'll just be able to scan this QR code, and then you'll actually like be able to see our app on the phone and actually like do ratings or like and dislike menu items and whatever. Right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Congrats. You made it through the gauntlet of like 8 presentations in a row. I thought all of them were fantastic. For the next like half an hour roughly, we will be demoing all of the projects on the second floor of Levine. So the ones that are deployed, you'll have like a QR code that you can scan and test it out yourself. For the projects that are not deployed, you'll be able to test it out on the computers. So yeah, all project teams, please go up to second floor Levine and set up your demos. And you can kick people out because we have it reserved. So Spark people, the banquet is at 7:30. So you have a little break. This is from 6:30 to 7, and then you have a break.